Welcome to week 12 of the 52-week art journal journey. Before you get started with this week's small art, I'd like you to take a few minutes to do some journaling that's a continuation of last week's theme of celebrating and expressing you. Well, I'd like you to do at least this much journaling. I'd like you to write down 5 positive things about yourself. If you missed last week's prompt, you can check the description for a link. If you're new to the 52-week art journal journey, there's a link below that will help you know what's going on too. Do you have your 5 positive things yet? Here's one more. You are taking time for creative self-care and making art. Today we're starting with a question. How are you feeling? Get out your colored pencils or markers, or colored pencils and markers, and choose a color that represents how you're feeling. I chose an interesting shade of purple. With your color, draw a frame. I used a rectangle, which works well. You could also use a square or circle, even a triangle if one of those better suits your emotions of the moment. Inside that frame, color how you're feeling. Color what you're feeling. If you missed our previous prompt about drawing emotions, you can check the description for a link to start there if this isn't the type of thing that comes naturally to you. If trying to color what you're feeling feels awkward, arting through the drawing emotions prompt will help you get thinking about how to represent in color and shape something that can be felt but not seen. This week, take some time to feel what you're feeling and put it on paper, but not in words. Use your colors and let your emotions guide your hand. I know, to some of you that sounds weird. Been there. But even if you think it's weird, even if you're questioning whether or not you want to do this week's art, even if you're feeling like taking the time for this is a waste of time, it's worth trying. My abstract art lately, as I mentioned in last week's prompt post, seems to be following a theme. The sunny, bright, cheerful, darkened, and then brightened again. In case you need to be reminded, the light always returns. The light always gets back in. I'm a little bit in love with yellow and contrasting it with my long-loved deep purple and indigo. Yes, the contrast, as I shared last week. The ongoing appearances of hints, streaks, shots of orange, that has been a surprise. As I did this week's art, it came to mind that it may be because of the sunsets and sunrises I got into last year as I was reclaiming my art, reclaiming my creativity during the 100-day project with my 100-day art journal, particularly with my words upon words. You can learn more about my 100-day art journal, yes, with the link in the video description. If you missed the Making Ugly Beautiful Words Upon Words prompt, I highly encourage you to try it. It's my favorite art journal, mind dumped, clear my head and heart, vent, process, whatever it needs to be, small art. It was something I'd done to process in words that could never again be read, refined into its own art process in my first art journal. Yep, there's a link to that prompt in the description too. It is my favorite small art journal project, and it is my least watched video prompt. On to today's art journaling. After you art it, write it. Why did you choose the colors you chose? How does what you colored represent what's going on inside you? How does it feel to see how you're feeling inside? Did how you felt change as you gave your feelings color and shape? And now back to the concept of the frame. As I've said in several prompts, we should never just ignore our feelings. They're real and should be acknowledged. If we don't like them, we shouldn't just try to convince ourselves they're not there. When we ignore unpleasant emotions, we end up giving them more power. Our emotions need to be accepted. Accepted as real and present, but not as the definition of our reality. By acknowledging our emotions and agreeing with them that they're there for a reason, and being willing to understand why they're there, we're more likely to be able to keep them from steamrolling us. Don't ignore your emotions, but remember they're just emotions. Don't let them run you. They change. And as you can see by how they're contained in the frame, you are bigger than they are. You are more than they are. Thank you for joining me for another week of the 52-week art journal journey, and for giving me the opportunity to encourage you to reclaim your creativity and establish a healthy habit of creative self-care through art journaling. If you haven't yet signed up for my weekly email, and if you missed last week's video, you probably don't know that I have a birthday coming up, and that one way I'm celebrating is by gifting a $50 Blick Art Materials gift certificate. It's 50 for my 50th. There's a link to enter in the video description. If you found value in this video, please like and subscribe, and share with someone else who needs to reclaim their creativity and establish a healthy habit of creative self-care.